Okay, I'm on a roll. Why not? Got things set up. Here's another journal. This one is from 526, the second one of that day, which the Mayan day was 3 monkey. Okay, it's all so simple, really, and getting more and more simple with each passing now. We're both birthing and dying. Birthing the new, expanded consciousness and dying to the old sleepling identity. That was never real anyway. There. See how simple it is? What's so hard about that, huh? Excuse me. It's a grand letting go that we're all doing. Those who are more successful, that is, in keeping anchored to their center, to the home base in heart. Detachment becomes the word of the day and of the now as our attachments are falling away all over, if we'll let them. Oh, it can be a bit scary, I'll give you that. With identity shifting so fast, it's easy to get dizzy and stay that way for a while. No harm done, though. Get out a walking stick if you need it to make it through. Nothing lasts forever in 3D, so we can be at peace with whatever it is. I can't help but feel that the more change we willingly make now, the better suited we will be to make the big shift, if there be such a thing up ahead, since up ahead doesn't really exist except in linear time, but we won't go there just now. Let's not do too much at once. That's the thing. For those sleepling through this particular time, there will be massive changes called for when the new real appears. Cliff High speaks of sun disease, where people seem to either commence dreaming in full waking consciousness while walking around, or just simply lose it and commence drooling. Hard to tell. Personally, I view the sun as very much our friend and ally in this whole thing. All of it. Remember, do the research and you'll find skin cancers are more closely correlated with the introduction of sunblock products than they are with sun exposure. Let's develop a new allergy to whatever we're told by the authorities. It's proved inaccurate or even grossly inaccurate far too often. It's time to recognize that when their lips move, they lie. Now, is that negative or is it a judgment? Are you in heart? Being in heart doesn't mean you go brain dead and lose your ability to discern or discriminate, as some seem to think. Intuition central is found there in heart, the home of the still small voice of divine guidance. Wisdom is never far off either. And finally, the BS detector is also located within. So, you're amply armed to navigate through rough waters or calm. I find the more that I let go, I find the more that I let go of, the easier this ride gets. Though I wouldn't call it easy by any means. Tough things keep coming up. A recent one I've noticed concerns my desire to integrate identity across all lifetimes or embodiments. Most hypnotherapists know that it is the moments of death of the body that can leave a lasting, troublesome imprint on the consciousness. Your last feelings and thoughts as you die really count. For many people, these are the moments above all others that come up for resolution, that bring their cargo in front of you to finally see and clear, if you will. Papaji noted this in his own All Lifetimes review or perusal, sitting there on the bank of the Ganges. Just as an example, all this life I have become fearful when heat blew on my face. I would get so nervous I couldn't drive well, so I had to take care never to aim the vents upward toward the face. I brushed it off, figuring it was probably a leftover from some other lifetime, but I never looked into it until recently. Now that I'm working with the Dream Spa, the biophoton device of Mellon Thomas, I'm finding it heats up the face. So it's been interesting. As I'm learning to relax in the midst of it, I'm finding some memories arising, such as abject terror while being burned at the stake or with a group. This is where the NDE or near-death experience studies come in quite handy, since I know that many who cross over and find themselves frightened for some reason or another generally have a quote-unquote bad or uncomfortable experience for a little while, which seems to resolve as soon as they let go of the fear. I know what to do. And this helps me recognize, too, that had I just done that in those previous lifetimes, it wouldn't have been so hard being burned. It's our fear that blocks our ability to take the higher view, simply said, or prevents us from seeing the beauty in our NDE right from the first. I firmly believe that those hell experiences are self-generated by our own belief system. And so that gets mirrored to us there, often buried from view down in the subconscious with the rest of our hidden beliefs. So, dropping only the fear would bring a tremendous improvement in any case. That's fairly easy to see and simple, too. So, are we attached to fear? That's a possibility, you know. Some are attached to ill health, yet not one would acknowledge or admit it. They just don't realize the attachment likewise being hidden away from the conscious awareness. Yet, that doesn't matter. In any case, we can just drop the fear, and this can be done via heart, where no fear can possibly abide. I have recently found these burning final scenes to lifetimes, along with a number of Native American or simply Native or Indigenous lives. These ended better. There is such a connection to nature and an innate dignity in so many Native peoples, perhaps in anyone attached to nature. I heard the story yesterday of how the Cree natives who were working with General Custer as his last stand approached, how they handled that, and the tears just flowed. These Indians knew far better than General Custer what he was up against, though they and no doubt others tried to tell him he would not listen, and perhaps he could not imagine them gathering in such massive numbers. Perhaps it was the simple evidence of pride going before the fall. In any event, when the Cree people saw how things were going to be, that Custer couldn't be dissuaded from his plan of attack, what did they do? Did they wisely slip away? Or just turn tail and run? Not at all. These beautiful, elegant warriors got out the appropriate regalia from what they had with them and did their death ceremonies or dances. They simply knew what was coming, and they didn't fear death. It was natural to them. After all, it is freaking natural. Every life ends in death. It is so stupid a thing to be afraid of. From the many times that seemingly native remembrances have come up, I gather that I've been a native many times myself. It is so dear to my heart, these beautiful people, overall so very wise. How I wish we had learned more from them instead of mowing them down in the name of a false progress that none of us are so very proud of now. Good old perfect hindsight, huh? Well, let us not mourn such things. The mourning time is past. Not for any longer than necessary to let them and their attached memories go. I believe that's why these things come up. These are old attachments to old ways, old days gone by. Yes, they are still now in the eternal sense and will always be. Yet they can also be viewed as quote unquote past lifetimes and handled that way. For instance, I found myself, face all heated up under the LED lamps, reaching out to comfort that one from heart that was likely me so long ago, there where the flames were being ignited so that that body would burn. I called her attention to me and shared with her that she would have many, many more lifetimes and that it was okay just to let this one go. I shared how dropping the fear was the finest thing she could do. And she did. Immediately, things lightened up for her. No pun intended. Being in the native lives is much more complex and doesn't easily fit into words. But this sharing is possible, my friends. Many of the foibles and issues we have in this life we bring with us from long ago, relatively speaking. Most often, what we will find if we just find peace in heart to let the memories flow is a traumatic death scene. It is even logical, so mind can cooperate. Let the advancements you've made along your spiritual path rise up to comfort that one whom you once were. Reach out across the years, which is as easy as staying in now. Don't forget, simultaneous time makes these things accessible. A gentle touch across the ages is easy to give and can sometimes be what soothes a terrified soul and softens her passing. You can rewrite the past. You can do this for your very own self, all across time. Drop the limits. Be the infinite one you already are. Step into it. Take your power back. Carve out your own life. Put on the rainbow cape of your divinity. Come with me as we integrate our awareness across time and all ages. Once we've worked our way through the troubling earth scenes that arise, bringing the balm of comfort that goes with or comes with dropping fear, we may even tap into a few lives spent in other forms than these human ones. Remember, no limits. Let it be what it is. Allow, no matter what. Let's be open with life, my friends. As we drop all fear of it, life will morph so very beautifully. Things that were once so troubling will now be seen for the real friends that they were, all unseen at that time, mostly due to the fear cutting us off from our own higher or inner self. So let's begin to notice and abandon all fear of any kind. Does God or Source have anything to fear? We are nothing if not the thoughts or imaginations of Source. We are that. We have simply nothing to fear. They take our body away? Big deal. That brings us back into our glorious home that much quicker, and with the honor of a good death, as native peoples know and respect. You've got that in you too. So you see, we can thank them for destroying our body or for anything if we have the heart vision to see through what's on the surface there. Yes, this is the age or the between ages of letting go, of surrendering all attachment to anything, anyone, anytime. How much can you let go?